So the Menendez brothers are being resentenced apparently. Recently they've been making a lot of headlines because of the Netflix series that came out there a while ago, which I recently watched, was really good. But this story is wild, man. It's weird to me. Uh, you know, it's tough from the research that I've done on this topic. You know, I don't think these guys should be let out of prison personally. Um, but we will talk about that after I go through a few articles. We got an article uh, talking about the retrial, and we got Kim Kardashian because nobody gives a shit about what Rosie O'Donnell says. Uh, Her response to this, apparently she was a big part in the Monster series, and she went and met with the Menendez brothers. But yeah, let's get into it. So, prosecutors recommend parole for Menendez brothers in 1989 murder of parents. Um, a Los Angeles prosecutor said on Thursday he would ask a judge to release Eric and Lyle Menendez on parole after nearly 35 years in prison for the shotgun murder of their parents, as new evidence emerged indicating they were sexually abused by their father for years. The Menendez brothers, now 56 and 53, were convicted after the second of two highly publicized trials that captivated the U.S. in the 1990s. Because of their wealth and privilege as the sons of a record company and entertainment industry executive, Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gaskin told a press conference he would recommend to a judge on Friday that their sentence be replaced with a sentence of 50 years to life and that they be eligible for parole immediately because of their young age at the time of the murders in 1989. Lyle was 28 and Eric was 18. I believe they paid their debt to society, Gaskin said. Nothing noting their good behavior in prison, but he said other prosecutors within his office opposed their release and might argue in an upcoming hearing in favor of keeping them in prison. It was not immediately clear how long it would take the court to rule. Some members of the extended Menendez family, including the sister of the murdered father, have urged that they be free. Jose Menendez was shot in the back of the head, and Katie Menendez was shot 15 times at their Beverly Hills home. A recent Netflix series dramatizing their story revived interest in the case, but for more than a year, defense lawyers have been in talks with prosecutors about vacating the sentence or seeking a new trial, citing new evidence that came too late supporting the brothers' claim they had been molested. In their first trial, which was televised and ended in a hung jury in 1994, the brothers testified they were sexually mistreated by both parents for years and were acting in self-defense, and that their father threatened to kill them if they were revealed the abuse. Prosecutors argue the pair were seeking their parents' multi-million-dollar fortune. A jury convicted them in a second trial that was not televised, but the same jury also spared them the death penalty, opting for life in prison without parole. Gaskin has said there is no doubt the brothers killed their parents, but cited new evidence, including a letter Eric Menendez purportedly wrote to a cousin 8 months before the murders, in which he described the abuse. Had the evidence been presented at trial, the jury may have reached a different outcome, he said. Gaskin said he still considered the murders horrible acts, adding there is no excuse for murder. Investigators also are examining allegations from a member of the 1980s pop band Menudo, who said he was abused by Jose Menendez. Those allegations were publicized last year in Peacock documentary series called Menendez, Menudo, Boys Betrayed. Gaskin also said he was concerned by the comments from a member of the prosecution team at the time that men could not be sexually abused. Since the original prosecution, our office has gained a deeper understanding of the complexities surrounding sexual violence, he said in a statement. Gaskin previously said he would wait until November 26th court hearing to make a decision on the case, but he sped up the decision given the intense public interest. He also faces a difficult re-election battle against challenger Nathan Hodgson November 5th, which is really notable because, obviously, you release this series on Netflix, you get everybody talking about it, you got all these celebrities wanting these guys to get out. But I mean, it's tough. We'll get into it after we read both these articles, like I said. He also faces a difficult re-election battle against Nathan Hodgson. That's notable. Gaskin Thursday denying politics had any role, saying his office has resentenced 332 other convicts as part of his policy of addressing over incarceration. But I mean, it is awfully convenient to keep one of the most infamous cases right before your re-election. Yeah. So, I guess we need to see what this evidence is of against Jose Menendez. Um, we're gonna move on to Kim Kardashian. She came out public saying the Menendez brothers should be resentenced. Apparently, she visited them multiple times and got to know them. So we'll read this, and then I will give you my opinion of this entire thing at the end. And I'm gonna be honest, this is a weird case to me. It really is. Kim Kardashian calls for Lyle and Eric Menendez's prison sentence to be reconsidered. Kardashian advocates for Mendez, blah 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 blah, yeah. Kim Kardashian stands with the Menendez brothers in an opted for NBC News. The reality star entrepreneur expressed her belief that Lyle and Eric Menendez's sentences should be reconsidered. The brothers are currently serving life sentences without the possibility of parole after being convicted in 1996 for murdering their parents, Jose and Mary Louise Kitty Menendez. Ryan Murphy's controversial true crime anthology series, Monsters, Lyle and Eric Menendez story, which debuted on Netflix on September 19th, has reignited conversation around Menendez brothers' case and trial on September 21st. Kardashian, who starred in Murphy's American Horror Story Delicate, visited Richard J. Donovan Correction Facility to meet a group of inmates, including the Menendez brothers. Kardashian was accompanied by Monsters star Cooper Koch, who plays Eric, as well as Khloe Kardashian, Kris Jenner, and film producer and anti-recidivism coalition founder Scott Budnick. I've spent time with Lyle and Eric. They are not monsters, wrote Kardashian. They are intelligent and honest men in prison. They both have exemplary disciplinary records. They have earned multiple college degrees, worked as caregivers for elderly incarcerated individuals in hospice, and been mentors in college programs. Committed to giving back to others. When I visited the prison 3 weeks ago, one of the wardens told me he would feel comfortable having them as neighbors. 24 family members, including their parents, siblings, have released statements fully supporting Lyle and Eric and have respectfully requested that the justice system free them. Kardashian's plea comes at the heels of a report that Los Angeles prosecutors are reviewing new evidence in the Menendez brothers' case after their attorneys asked a court to vacate their conviction. Both brothers have maintained that they were physically, emotionally, and sexually abused by their parents for years leading up to the murders. After their televised first trials ended in two hung juries and declared mistrials, the brothers were tried together before a single jury in the second trial. Much of the evidence concerning their alleged sexual abuse was deemed inadmissible, and manslaughter was no longer an option. They were found guilty of first-degree murder, and we all know that. Kardashian's dedication to criminal justice is, well, blah blah blah. She got a law degree, did all that. In her options, Kardashian mentioned Simpson's case, noting that the Menendez brothers' second trial began just 8 days after Simpson's acquittal. She also highlighted that ways in which society at the time was ill-equipped to deal with sexual abuse allegations, particularly from young men, calling out Saturday Night Live and other media programs, turning the brothers' alleged abuse into entertainment for the nation. Eric and Lyle had no chance of a fair trial against the backdrop, continued Kardashian. Back then, there were limited resources for victims of sexual abuse, particularly for boys. There were virtually no systems in place to support survivors, and public awareness of the trauma of male sexual abuse was minimal. Often clouded by a preconceived judgment and homophobia, can anyone honestly deny that the justice system would have treated the Menendez sisters more leniently? And that one right there is interesting because there was a story well, no story. There was an incident in the town that I live in where, different from an inheritance, this woman ended up killing her parents and her younger brother because they didn't approve of her relationship with this guy who was like 6, 7 years older than her. Like, she was like 13, 14. He was like 20, something like that. And yeah, they ended up tragically and pretty gruesomely killing the girl's parents and her young brother. And what happened, because I live in Canada, was that she got out when she turned into an adult up in Canada. Because we have something called the Youth Justice Act, which I don't think it would have worked for them because they're over 18. But yeah, that girl got a completely new identity, living a completely new life. Uh, and yeah, but that's Canada. America is a little bit different. Um, for his part, Murphy believes that the brothers deserve another day in court. I think at the end of the day, if there's new evidence and there are facts that have not been presented, they should be presented. And someone in an official capacity should hear it and maybe change their opinion about the rest of the lives of these boys. He told Vanity Fair. And I think talking about prison reform, as Cooper and Kim Kardashian are doing, it's very necessary and interesting. Kardashian ends her missive by highlighting new evidence not included in the trial, and with an emotional plea on behalf of the Menendez brothers, with their case back in the spotlight, and considering the revelations of a 1988 letter from Eric to his cousin, like we read earlier, describing the abuse, my hope is that Eric and Roy Menendez's life sentences are reconsidered. She writes, we owe it to those little boys who lost their childhood, who never had a chance to be heard or helped or saved. Alright, so now that we got the articles out of the way, I finally get to give my full opinion, and we're gonna get into this thing. So, abuse back then of this kind was definitely not highlighted nearly enough. In fact, it was a little bit encouraged. Maybe you yourself have your own stories, or people, or you've just watched, say, a Larry Lawton, or one of these older YouTubers that tell stories about their lives. That was a common thing back then, and it's sadly a common thing now. But it's obviously hidden more. But I don't know. The fact that they didn't call until like 2 hours later, however long it was, the fact that they flip flopped on the story, but I don't know. If they were exemplary prisoners, if they were nice, if they were helping out, if they were trying to better their lives, I guess I'm not one to deny them of the second chance. But I don't know. I figured this is probably one of the biggest stories out there. I know it's a little different from, my normal MMA topics, but, I've been dabbling in topics like these for a while. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about the Menendez retrial? Um, what did you think about the series, and do you think these guys should be let out of prison? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and yeah, later.